Hello, welcome to the section User Management. In this section, we will go into more detail about the process of authentication and authorization and how to gain access to concrete SQL Server assets, which is also known as securables, along with accessing SQL Server resources and the schema separation. Now, we move on to the first video of this section that deals with the authentication process. In this video, we will learn to check the list of current SQL Server logins and create a new SQL Server login. This question is very simple. Who are you? Unfortunately, the answer is not so simple. The database engine needs to verify your identity, and I believe a more important question is this really you? During the setup procedure, you have to select an SA password, which actually uses the SQL Server authentication process. This database engine comes from Windows and is tightly connected with an Active Directory and internal Windows authentication. In this phase of development, SQL Server on Linux only supports SQL authentication. SQL Server has a very secure entry point. This means no access without the correct credentials. Every information system has some way of checking a user's identity, but SQL Server has 3 different ways of verifying identity and the ability to select the most appropriate method based on individual or business needs. When using SQL Server authentication, logins are created on SQL Server. Both the username and the password are created by using SQL Server and stored in SQL Server. Users connecting through SQL Server authentication must provide their credentials every time that they connect, that it's their username and password, as these are transmitted through the network. When using SQL Server authentication, it is highly recommended to set strong passwords for all SQL Server accounts. As you'll have noticed so far, you have had no problems accessing SQL Server resources. The reason for this is very simple. You are working under the SA login. This login has unlimited SQL Server access. In some real-life scenarios, SA is not something to play with. It is good practice to create a login under a different name with the same level of access. Now let's see how to create a new SQL Server login. But first, we'll check the list of current SQL Server logins. To do this, access the sys.sql_logins system catalog view and 3 attributes which are name, is policy checked, and is the expiration checked. The attribute name is clear. The second one we will show you the login enforcement password policy. And the third one is for enforcing account expiration. Both attributes have a Boolean type of value. True or false, that is, 1 or 0. Now, let's move on to the Open SUSE terminal and log in to SQL CMD. Now, to list all SQL logins, type the command select name. Is policy checked, comma, is expiration checked? From sys.sql_logins, where name equals SA, go. If you want to see what your password from the SA login looks like, just type another version of the same statement, which I'm going to show you now. Select password_hash from sys.sql_logins, where name is equal to SA. Go. This is the result of the hash function. Now let's create the login DBA, which will require a strong password and will not expire. First, we change the database context to master. In the next line, type the query. Create login DBA with password equals your password. Check expiration is off. Check policy is on. Go. Next, we check the DBA on the login list. Let's type select name. Is policy checked? is expiration checked from sys.sql logins, where name is DBA. Notice that DBA logins do not have any kind of privilege. Let's check that part. First, close your current SQL CMD session by typing exit. Now, connect again, but instead of using SA, you will connect with the DBA login. Type SQL CMD-S followed by IP address -U SA. After the connection has been successfully created, try to change the content of the active database to AdventureWorks 2014. As you can see, the authentication process will not grant you anything. Simply, you can enter the building, but you can't open any door. You will need to pass the process of authorization first. In this video, we have learnt about the authentication process.